Robert Greene points out something that I find really striking. Around age 4 or 5, children have what he calls impulse voices. Tiny, honest signals that say things like, I love this or I hate that, raw, unfiltered, untouched. But somewhere around age 7, sometimes earlier, the inner voice starts getting drowned out. Teachers tell you what you're good at or bad at, parents push specific directions, peers decide what's cool and what isn't, and by the time we are adults, and we are carrying all of it. Definition of success imposed from the outside, other people's expectations of who we should be, old identities and roles that stopped fitting in long ago, and a persistent fear of being judged. These are the blocks, and as long as you carry them, your real voice stays muted. Hi, I'm Monica, and this is my series on the sense of purpose. In phase 1, I already described a simplified model of how the sense of purpose is created. First, we have input. Events, people, experiences, interactions, then that input goes to the interpreter, which is you. And from that interaction, the sense of purpose is generated. And when you are authentic with yourself, when you act in alignment with yourself, then the entire pathway works cleanly. But when there are too many disturbances, then the entire pathway gets polluted. Those disturbances are the blocks, the definitions, the labels, the narratives, the fear of judgment. They distort how you interpret input, experiences, people, events, and so on. And when that interpretation is distorted, then your output, the sense of purpose, feels less authentic, less yours. Now, I could give you a list of blocks and tell you to work through them one by one, but honestly, it's hard to change beliefs, and it rarely follows a clean checklist. It's hard to decide what's yours and what's driven by fear. So instead of giving you a step-by-step guide, I want to give you a direction. That direction is a feeling, the feeling of freedom. When the blocks starts to loosen, people almost universally describe the same thing. Not joy, not excitement, freedom. The state when you can act, choose, and move without invisible chains. When you're stuck, when you have no sense of direction, it feels like being locked in a small, airless room, no door. The opposite of that isn't having the answer, is the feeling that all the doors are open, like you can walk in any direction. That's the feeling that puts you out of paralysis, and that feeling is the first real sign that you're moving the right way. And just to be clear, being stuck doesn't always mean that you see no options. Often it means that you see too many, but every option feels wrong. It's feeling like there are obstacles in every direction. Freedom isn't just about seeing many paths. It's feeling like you can walk any of them. So if none of the options feels possible right now, don't force yourself to choose the best options. Instead, focus on regaining the feeling that you can choose at all. Expand options. Or choose whatever opens up more options, more space, more room, more possibility. You don't need a huge dramatic shift, just more freedom than before, and that's enough to clear your mind a little. When we feel directionless, it usually comes down to one of two things. The first, not enough input, not enough experiences, people, events. There simply isn't enough material for the mind to interpret and generate something from. The second, the blocks. Plenty of input exists, but the way we interpret it is distorted. We can't process what's happening around us in an authentic way, so nothing meaningful comes out. And these blocks aren't always psychological. Sometimes they're practical. Someone in survival mode, financially stressed, worrying about their job, can't meaningfully search for purpose. Their mind is fully occupied. So the most useful thing isn't reflection, it's creating even a small sense of stability. Whether the blocks are mental or physical, the direction is the same: move toward more freedom. Why does freedom matter so much? Because the mind, full of noise, can't hear itself. The anxious loops. What if this doesn't work out? Should I be doing something else? What will they think? These are fluctuations of the mind. And deep peace, real clarity, doesn't come from pleasure or achievement. It comes from the quieting of those fluctuations. Purpose gives you a one-pointed mind, a mind where you can actually hear yourself instead of fear, judgment, or pressure. Clear, present, focused. Think of it this way. A mind full of noise is like someone running in panic through a burning maze. There is no clarity, only reaction. The feeling of freedom is the moment you step out of the maze into an open field. Suddenly, you can see the whole landscape, and only then you could choose a direction and actually walk it. Purpose rarely starts with a big aha moment. It usually starts with something much simpler. I have options, I'm not trapped, I feel relief, I don't feel that bad as I did. That's why removing blocks is the foundation you need to discover your purpose. One of the most powerful and most overlooked blocks is identification. The Latin phrase idem facere means to make oneself the same. And that's exactly what happens. We collapse ourselves into a role, a label, a group, and start treating it as if it is us. Identification has a double nature. On one side, it's adaptive. Belonging to a team, a profession, a family gives us safety and grounding. We genuinely need that. On the other side, it becomes a trap the moment it replaces your real self and becomes the source of your worth. Dr. Gabor Mate puts it this way: there is no such thing as a truly healthy over-identification. Every time you rigidly become something, you narrow yourself down. Here is a simple example. Think of a deeply committed football fan, say Spanish. When Spain loses, that fan doesn't feel like their team lost. They feel like they lost. It triggers real anger, frustration, sometimes even aggression toward people who didn't even play the game. That's identification in action. And it shows up in much bigger, more personal areas too. Politics is the obvious one. People who over-identify with a party start treating anyone who disagrees as a personal threat. But the same dynamic plays out with careers, lifestyles, beliefs, past experiences. The career version is the one worth sitting with because it's the one that most quietly kills your sense of possibility. Say you've been a teacher for 15 years. Everyone around you knows you as the teacher. They associate you with certain traits, a certain way of showing up, and you've internalized all of it. You see yourself that way too. Then, one day, you stop feeling any sense of purpose in that role, and suddenly moving in a different direction feels almost impossible. Not because you lack skills or options, but because your whole identity is tied up into that label, a teacher. You can't even imagine yourself doing something else, let alone believe it would work. That's when the fear kicks in. Fear of people's opinions, fear of their confusion or disappointment, fear of losing the story they have about you or the story you have about yourself. Jay Shetty said something that captures this perfectly. You're not stuck, you're grieving the old version of yourself. You want things to look a little like they used to. You're so attached to how people treated you in that role, how you dressed, how you showed up, what you imagined they thought of you. That being anything different feels like losing solid ground. And if you try to change even a little, you notice unfamiliar looks, unexpected reactions, it's uncomfortable, so you pull back. It's hard to move forward when you're still holding onto what was. Here is another quote by Jay Shetty. What's holding you back is exactly what you refuse to let go of. So ask yourself honestly, what am I holding onto from the past that's blocking me? What thought, behavior, expectation, or label do I need to release to feel more freedom? What do I need to let go of to expand my sense of possibility? Remember about "and so what?" Every identity that you have, I'm a teacher, I'm introverted, I'm someone who gets stressed, every identity you can question by asking yourself, and so what? I'm a teacher, and so what? I'm an introvert, and so what? You need to rewrite each identity as a fact. I worked as a teacher. That's a fact, not a definition of who you are. I often need alone time. That's a behavior, not a label. Sometimes I procrastinate. That's an action, not a character trait. Identity says I am X, rigid, closing doors. Facts say I did X, I tend toward X, flexible, doors stay open. That small shift creates a bit more psychological space. There is one more block worth naming directly because it's one of the sneakiest. Separate your purpose from your need for validation. Wanting to be appreciated is completely normal. Recognition, respect, validation, these are genuine human needs. There's nothing wrong with them. The problem starts when you confuse those needs with purpose. Take someone who wants to become a singer. Is it because they love the craft, the sound, the discipline, the expression, or is it because they want to be seen, to be known, admired, recognized? Sometimes both are true, and that's fine. Mixed motives are human. But if the need for visibility is doing most of the driving, then what looks like purpose is actually an unmet emotional need in disguise. And chasing it will never actually fill that need because validation from the outside is bottomless. Ask yourself and try to be honest. Why do I really want this? Do I want it for myself or for how it looks to others? Is there a hidden need underneath this for belonging, for approval, for proof that I matter? If that need were already met, if you already felt seen and loved and enough, would this still feel like your path? We tie our sense of purpose to being liked, praised, admired, and then we wonder why it keeps slipping away. Add in constant comparison and the endless scroll of other people's lives, and the confusion multiplies. It becomes nearly impossible to hear your own signal when your mind is permanently tuned to everyone else's frequency. Your real purpose exists with or without applause. It comes from your inner world, your character, your values, your nature, not from the desire to make others approve of you. And there's one more thing we confuse purpose with: the happiness trap. We equate finding our purpose with feeling happy all the time. We search for work or passion that will be pure, constant pleasure. That expectation leads directly to disappointment. Your mind actually operates on two completely different axes. The first one is pain, pleasure. This is biology, dopamine, immediate, fast, temporary. You eat something delicious, pleasure. Someone insults you, pain. The problem is that pleasure is fleeting. When it fades, it leaves emptiness behind and craving for more. The second axis is suffering, peace. You can feel physical pain like an athlete in training and still feel a deep sense of peace and meaning at the same time. These two axes are independent. As the Yoga Sutras say, peace comes from quieting the fluctuations of the mind. When you don't have a purpose, when you feel that hollow restlessness, your mind vibrates in every direction. What should I do with my life? Is this enough? I want to be somewhere else. That scattered, vibrating state is suffering. Not dramatic, not loud, but persistent. Purpose doesn't mean every day feels like a celebration. It means you find something that allows your mind to stop wandering. Not because there is nothing left to want, but because you're fully here in what you're doing. Even when the work is hard, tedious, or painful, if your mind has stopped jumping around, you've found something real. Purpose isn't the most pleasurable experience, it's the most focused one. That's all for today. Thank you for watching. Just a quick reminder, all the videos from the series on the sense of purpose are linked in the description. I already talked about phase 1, chaos and question. Today was the second video from the phase 2, coming back to yourself, and there will be phase 3, evolution and creation. So that's it. Thank you for watching.